When we were at the lake, we developed a really nice routine, and it was coffee on the deck in the morning, and chores, and then usually at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we would go down to the beach and visit at a distance with another couple and odd people that would come by. And our water was good. Sometimes we have green algae, and that's a problem, but the water was good. The boat was in the water, so it was very wonderful. But what was your typical day?
Well, my typical day, we had coffee on the deck, and we have a wonderful screen in the veranda, because Tom would never have sat out with mosquitoes. So that's really a pleasure. And boating, swimming. I seem to be dinner cooker. Everybody else was busy doing something else. We have a small garden, lots of flowers, and again walking. We have my other daughter is 3 doors from us, so I have 2 grandchildren down there occasionally. So this really isn't a typical day. Every day sort of changed. If we wanted a routine, you can be sure that's when it got changed.
Yeah.
Which is good, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how often did you come to the city every week, or you were
No.
gone for weeks, lady?
I was gone for weeks. My daughter came in at least every 10 days to water plants at home and here, inside, not outside, and do the shopping, you know, because we have a nice store there, but Costco had to be filled.
Right. Now that we're back at home, how are the days passing for you?
Sometimes it's boring. I never ever, very rarely watched afternoon TV. I'm fine I'm doing that. I don't particularly like it. I try to phone people, keep contact with them, especially ones that are isolated. I have some friends that are isolated without COVID, you know. And but I do a lot of quilting, do some regular sewing, which I enjoy, and a lot of reading, which I've joined the book club here. Unfortunately, the first book that I'm involved with, for me, it's a struggle. But I'll struggle.
Good. Well, we're anxious. The reports come down through Barbara, who's also in the book club, so I get to read all the reports too.
Oh, okay.
I shouldn't call them book reports. It reminds me too much of teaching English, you know.
Yeah, right.
So,
well,
but anyway, everybody's opinions are quite different, and everybody's got a valid opinion, because your experience is your experience when you're reading a book.
Yeah. Again, because of COVID, this one is sort of a downer. But I was warned by Sheila.
Well, maybe you need a little comedy put in there, but that's hard to find in this at this particular time anyway. So I remember a number of years ago, your family was grappling with some health issues for a great granddaughter.
Yes.
And it was a hearing issue.
Mm-hmm.
What is the story behind that?
Well, the birth seemed to go perfectly well, and the child had a blank look. I know that sounds strange, but I have a pillow upstairs. It's a picture of her, like she didn't show any emotion. Anyhow, when she was about 15 months old, again we were at the lake, and there was the whole family, and she's pointing to something on the table. Nobody could figure out what it was. I guess we did in the end. Tom and I drove in, and we drove in that night to the city, and I said, I gotta ask you something, Tom. Do you think Brooklyn's deaf? And he said, yes, I do. With that, the parents and the grandparents had the same conversations. And when the parents got home, the mother went out for groceries or something, and the father got a pot and pan and banged it all around and broke down crying.
Yes. So that was the test.
The babies weren't tested at that time. I think they are now, but I'm not sure about that when they're born. Angela, the mother, is strong-willed with her child, and she got her into the cochlear implant, but that doesn't happen overnight. I think it's easier now because they pick it up earlier.
I see.
She's doing wonderfully. She's now 7 years old. She knows everything. Her speech is coming. I have to concentrate because I don't see her as much as the rest of the family. But she never gets down. She is so positive. She'll even go and draw it out, or now, being 7, print it out.
Right.
And for when and some of the others that don't see her.
So she had a cochlear implant?
Yes, she had her
one ear, or
both. She had one when she was 2, or just over 2, and they don't do them both. They didn't do both of them at once. At that time, it's probably changed because they want her to concentrate. So they blank the other one, and she goes to Central Speech, and she went every week. I think she still goes every week from the time she had the first one put in, and then because they just turn it up slowly, and then they had the second one in when she was about 2.5, 2 3/4, and they turned the one off, so it only worked in the one ear.
So this is a real miracle of technology that gives this child a normal life.
Right. We ended up going in the January of 2017 to Disneyland. They were going, and of course, as you know, Tom died in November of 16, and they said, come on, you got to come with us. And she had her cochlears. And there was a gentleman, probably your age, came up and tapped the mother on the shoulder, Kathy, and he said, and he had just had them put in not long ago, so he had been deaf for a lot of years, and he spoke pretty good, so we had quite a chat with him about it, but Brooke couldn't enter into that conversation, you know.
No, not yet.
So we
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was.
For your family.
Yeah,
Having gone through all those steps.
Yeah.
Like together, and that's a great granddaughter.